Lita here at Lita Farm. I'm out here with Lena for a walk with our dogs, and I thought I'd talk a little bit about buying land here in Nicaragua. We made some mistakes when we went to buy land, and hopefully you won't make the same ones that we did. I belong to a Facebook group for people that are foreigners who live in Nicaragua. And somebody wrote to that yesterday and asked a question, said, is Nicaragua a good place to retire? I didn't respond to him because so many other people had already responded, but it really depends on what your goals are. And when you want to buy land here in Nicaragua, let's say you want to move here, you need to have some goals. You need to be kind of clear about what some of those goals are. You know, do you want to have a house and maybe a little bit of land that you can grow some vegetables on, like a homestead? Do you want to get a farm? Do you want to get a ranch? And all of those things, you know, what your goals are, not just for right now, but, you know, for the next 5 years or 10 years, they are going to inform the decisions that you make about buying land here in Nicaragua. So I'm standing next to one of the mango trees that we planted. This one is about two and a half years old now and is growing really well. And we're very much anticipating getting mangoes off of this tree in the next 3 years, maybe 4 years or so. So if you're thinking about buying land, whether it's here in Nicaragua or anywhere, check your ego. Check your ego. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, your ego is going to want you to buy as much land as possible. As big of a farm, as big of a piece of land as you possibly can. 100 acres, 500 acres, whatever it may be. That's not a good thing. You need to be clear about your goals and then say, what amount of land am I going to need in order to accomplish those goals? In other words, do I want a homestead? Do I want to grow my own vegetables? Maybe have some chickens, maybe have some pigs, whatever the case may be. But it's mainly the meat and the vegetables are all for me and my family. And then if I have some left over, some excess, maybe I'll be able to sell some of those. But it's not that I'm actually trying to make a living on the farm. Okay, that's a very different decision about land than if you want to have a ranch in which you're going to have 100 cattle on there. And you're going to sell those cattle, you're going to grow those cattle and sell them, and that's going to be your source of income. Or you're going to have a coffee farm, and you're going to need a certain number of coffee plants in order to produce the quantity of coffee that you need to be able to have a living out of that. So you need to check your ego before you make decisions about buying land. The equally important thing is to do research. And when I say do research, I mean to dig as deep as you possibly can. You see a piece of property that you like, you find out everything you possibly can about that piece of property. You talk to neighbors, you talk to other people, you go down to the mayor's office, you do everything you possibly can. We didn't do that when we bought this property, and by the way, this is not the first property that we bought. This is actually the third property that we bought. But we didn't do it here either. And it turns out that the mayor's office owned a small piece of land right next to us on the south side of our farm here. And he was planning on creating a community there. Now, we wanted to move here because of peace and quiet. And so knowing that that community was going to be there might have changed our mind about buying this farm if we had actually known at the time. But we didn't do our research. So you have to do research. And then there's some other technical things that you need to know about land here in Nicaragua. There's some land that is protected, and it's protected by the indigenous community. And when you buy land through them, you have to adhere to their standards of care for the land. Then there's another type of land that is called derechos reales, or real rights. Those are like what you'd have in the United States when you buy a piece of land, or in Canada. And then there's a third in which there's government protected land, but they let you live on that land. You can have like a certificate in which you have the right to live on the land, but you don't actually own it because it's protected land. So you need to be clear about what type of land you're actually buying before you go to put your money down. The other thing is that it's not very common here to buy land through a bank with a mortgage. Cash is king, and so you need to have some cash in order to buy land here. And if you're going to go to a bank to try to get a loan, you've already put yourself in a hole. Because let's say you're going to try to start a cattle farm. Well, maybe you don't know a lot about cattle farming, and you're going to learn as you go along. Well, you better have plenty of money in the bank to fail for a while before you finally succeed. And not everybody can have that kind of money. So it's better if you're able to buy the land outright, then you own it. If you fail, at least you still have the land. But if you get a mortgage, if you fail, the bank owns the land, takes it away from you, and you lose your money too. So that's the other thing. And then finally, there are no, to my knowledge, there are no requirements here like there are in the United States or other countries for you to have a license to be a real estate person. Pretty much anybody can call themselves a real estate agent here. And you need to be careful with that. Now there's some very reputable ones. Many lawyers act as real estate agents here. It's a way that they supplement their income. But even lawyers, not everybody is reputable. And so it's important to find a lawyer that is reputable, that is going to represent you when you go to buy, and is going to do the kind of research to make sure that that property is clean before you buy it. And if you're going through a real estate agent, you need to make sure that you're dealing with someone who also has a reputation and is honest and what have you. So those are a few things that I think are important to know when you're considering buying land either here in Nicaragua or basically buying land anywhere. You need to check your ego. You need to do lots and lots and lots of research. So I'll leave it at that.